From the studios of the Richmond Register, it's this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. Every Thursday night at 9 o'clock, Richmond Register Sports Editor Nathan Hutchinson and Richmond Register Sports Writer Ricky Barker will talk about this week in Madison County sports. Welcome to the show.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. I am Richmond Register Sports Editor Nathan Hutchinson, and this with me, as always, is Richmond Register Sports Writer Ricky Barker.
How's it going?
It's kind of cold out there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is very cold. Winter is here.
Yes. Well, we've had an interesting couple of days around the EKU campus. Lots of stuff happening kind of at a breakneck speed. We found out, word came out Monday morning that Walt Wells would be named the new football coach over there at Eastern. A guy who was an assistant under Roy Kidd in the 90s and early 2000s. And we had the press conference announcing him on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we had the resignation of Michael Benson as the president of the university. So it's a lot of moving parts going on over there right now.
A lot of changes.
But going back to Walt Wells, though, he is the new coach. He's the 15th head coach in program history. He was assistant under Roy Kidd from 97 to 2002, mostly as the offensive line coach. Worked at a lot of other places along the line. He was at Tennessee. Last couple of years he was at UK as a quality control assistant. Kind of told us that he really kind of, part of what he did was kind of shadowing Mark Stoops for the last couple of years. Kind of got him ready for what will be his first head coaching position. He's been coaching for 20 plus years, never been a head coach anywhere at any level. So this will be the first for him. I know a lot of the older folks associated with the program were very happy that Walt was back. We had the press conference on Tuesday. Coach Kidd was very exuberant. He stood up and let his feelings be known. He said, EKU football is back, and he was very excited. So Walt Wells is the new head coach at Eastern Kentucky, and he also, not only from 97 to 2002, he was also here in 2015 with Dean Hood for one season as well. And of course, interesting side note there is, it appears Dean Hood is going to be the new head coach at Murray State.
Yeah.
So lots of moving parts. So the former EKU coach will now be at Murray coaching against the Colonels, and him and Walt are really, really good friends, and so that would be very interesting when those two have to square off with each other every year in that interstate rivalry there. So, but it's kind of an interesting time. I'm not sure. We have an interim athletic director. Don't have a president at this point. All kinds of
just wait and see.
All kinds of changes going on there. But a very, very interesting point about Walt Wells too. Not only the connection with Roy Kidd, but when he was here as an assistant coach in 1999 and 2000 as an offensive line coach, he coached a young man named
Diaz.
Yes. The current EKU Board of Regents chief, the chairman of the Board of Regents, played under him. Luis Diaz, he played under him in 99 and 2000. So I kind of joked with him afterwards at the press conference. I'm like, that didn't hurt, huh? You get the job. And he said, well, I must have left a good impression on him.
Yeah, he didn't dislike him enough.
So he said it didn't hurt my chances. So he said he kept in touch with them over the years. He said they're not, exactly like best buddies, but he had kept in touch, and so it was good to kind of reconnect with them and all that. So interesting connections there with Roy Kidd and Luis Diaz and a lot of people. So Walt Wells is your new head coach at Eastern Kentucky University. As far as EKU basketball, we had a good week for the women, bad week for the men.
Yeah.
You last Sunday you watched the Xavier game. It was on some kind of Facebook live stream or something. But they took on. It wasn't available over a TV network.
Right.
Something you had to go online and get. But they were up at Xavier up in Cincinnati and got down big, but made a huge comeback. Tell us about it.
Oh gosh, yeah. They had fallen behind by 21 points, and then right at the end of the second quarter, they started rallying, and then halftime hit. And then in that fourth quarter, even at the start of the fourth quarter, they were still down 16 points, and then they just took off and was able to erase that deficit, and then got the win 56 to 55. So a last-minute shot by Xavier didn't make it, but so was able to keep them ahead. So
once again, another amazing victory for a program that has been turned around really quickly. Now 6-3. They only won 2 games last year. Now they have 6 wins. And just like you said, Quay Stanton had 13. Mowbray had 9.
Elia Green had 11 points, 12 rebounds, and was named the OVC Newcomer of the Week.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Yeah, and they will be back in action Sunday down at Vandy. Another tough road test against an SEC school. The EKU men were up in the up around Cincinnati on Sunday as well. They were over in Highland Heights over in northern Kentucky, and they got off to a fantastic start. They were up 21-9. It was a game that you could have watched on Fox Sports Ohio if you had the chance. We both watched it. Up 21-9, and it went south from there. They ended up suffering a 76-57 loss, 4th straight loss, which is bad news because you got a trip this Saturday to number 1 Louisville, and then the next game up to that is A.W. Hamilton's alma mater over at Marshall, which will be a tough test. But like I said, it's 4 straight losses for them in that game. Ty Taylor had 14 points. Jaquez Hobbs had 7 points and 5 assists, and Trey King had 7 points. They got out rebounded 39-22 in that game.
Yeah, just at the end there, just nothing was. It's just like nothing was working for them. They would get out of the press, and then they try to get back in to get some offense, and they couldn't click it back together like they did in the beginning. So.
Yeah, that came out of a bunch of threes, and we're up 21-9, and it was
yeah, all of Ty Taylor's, all of his points, those 14 points, first half.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it didn't hold up, but they fall to 3-6. Obviously, a few more games left before conference play, which is really obviously the most important part of the season. So they get that thing turned around and head into conference play. I think it's January 2nd they start into conference play. So long way to go. Continuing on college basketball, the USA South conference play opened last weekend with the Berea Lady Mountaineers and Mountaineers. The Lady Mountaineers went on the road and beat they beat Agnes Scott. Yeah, Agnes Scott. They beat them 81-44 in Georgia. That's in Georgia, right?
Agnes Scott, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, it is in Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah, great college.
You're a Georgia person.
Yeah,
I always ask you about
had a friend
Georgia.
graduate from there. So.
Yeah. So they opened up conference play with a nice easy win. Leah Hampton had 15 points. Brianna Lanham had 14 points and 14 rebounds, and Destiny Combs had 12 points. And in that game, Nikisha Green pulled down her 750th career rebound, and she's the first Berea player to hit that mark since the school went up to the Division III level a couple of years ago. They will play back in action Saturday at home against Brevard, but they are now 6-2 on the year. The Mountaineers, the men's team, they went down to Brevard, and I knew somebody played Brevard.
Gonna play Brevard?
Yeah, but they went down to Brevard on Saturday, and they suffered a 76-68 loss in the conference opener for them. They fall to 4-3, 0-1 in the league. Terrell Carter had 19 points and 11 rebounds. And in that game, he went over 1,000 points for his career. He's a sophomore.
Wow.
He reached 1,000 points in 54 games. That's 18.5 points a game. So he's already at 1,000 points already. That's amazing. But Jair Jackson had 9 points. Mitchell and Bree had 7 points. And they will play. They actually don't return action until December 17th against Pfeiffer. So they got a few
good long break.
The whole week off here for finals and all that good stuff, and get into that, which is very competitive. USA South, lots of travel, and it's a very large league.
Yeah, unfortunately, Berea is kind of like at they're the northernest. Yeah,
the only one close to them is Maryville in Tennessee. So everybody else is a long road trip away. So we had our first full week of high school basketball last week, and at the end of 1 week, we have one undefeated team. And it's the Berea Pirates, the boys team down there at Berea Community. 4-0 last week. Admittedly, they didn't play the toughest teams during that 4-0 stretch, but wins are wins, especially early in the year, so there's nothing wrong with that. They defeated Eminence 80-38. They defeated the Cumberland Homeschool team 100-30, and they beat Lee County 85-57. And all those games were last weekend at the Oliver Properties Tip-Off Classic down in Berea. Jalen Dorsey had a couple of big games for them, and they will be back at home Friday at home against Dayton, and then on Saturday they host the Bill Smallwood Classic over there as well. So, and that's got some girls games, boys games. It's kind of an all-day thing. Southern's playing in that too. Southern's boys are in that as well. So all kinds of action down there on Saturday. The Model Boys finally picked up their first win. They got Coach John Morgerson his first win. You were there the other night when they lost to Buckhorn.
Yeah, that was a pretty close game. They were able to kind of keep tabs on them throughout the game, and it was a tough loss. But I'm glad they were able to get a win. So
and they lost to Buckhorn 58-49. Then on Saturday they went over to Lykes-Cath and lost 84-54. But then on Monday they came home and beat Bluegrass United 57-51. Bryson Perry had 18 points. Cruz Pingleton had 17 points. like I said, first win for Coach John Morgerson. He was the guy who was an assistant coach at a lot of years at West Jessamine and some other places. He was an assistant for 10 years. So it's his first head coaching position. That's his first win. So Monday, that was a special moment for him to finally get that first win. And it was a hard-fought game. The Bluegrass United team I know it's a homeschool team, and maybe people don't know much about them, but they got some good athletes.
Yeah, they're very athletic.
It was a good win. We've seen those teams. The Bluegrass United teams beat some of our other local teams. And
during soccer season,
so
they also have a good soccer team.
So they've got a good collection of athletes at the Bluegrass United there. But so model will be back in action Saturday at Nelson County. Madison Southern had a very busy week, and you were there for both games. Two losses, unfortunately, but two very tough opponents. On Friday night, they played defending state champion Trinity, lost 48-44 in overtime, and then on Tuesday, they lost to Estill County at home 64-53. You were at both of those games. Tell us about it.
Well, I told Coach Austin Newton on Friday, I was like, that's probably one of the best, when they were playing against Trinity. I said, that's probably the whole atmosphere of that game was probably one of the best high school games I had seen in a really long time. The crowd was into it, and they were fighting so hard. That defense that they're using is, that up-tempo style, and they were getting all kinds of steals and just kind of flying around the court. And until Trinity kind of went full press on them in the very end, they were up. So.
That Trinity game was very low scoring at halftime. It was like 19-10 or something at halftime.
Yeah, not a lot of offense, but a ton of defense on both sides. But then Coach Newton said that he was hoping that what wouldn't happen against the Estill County game, since everybody was like the emotions were running high for the Trinity, when they came out against Estill County, which is his former teammate.
John Bentley is the coach there. Yeah, they played together at EKU.
So kind of an important game for both of them. He said that they were just a little possibly hungover from it. They just had a real slow start. They were able to get close in the second half, but again, that kind of faded late.
Yeah, big game for Chad Fugate. He had 24 points against Estill County, and they will be back in action Friday against Woodford County at home. And tremendous, great student section Friday down at Southern in Berea, and a tremendous one at Central on Friday night as well. A terrific game against Lafayette. I know they had Central had a 17-point lead slip away, but ended up winning at 75-66 in overtime. Just the pictures we had are just priceless.
Great.
Because you had the great student section down there, and for some reason the folks at Central, the kids at Central, decided to do gender swap night. So the boys dressed as girls, the girls dressed as boys, and you even had boyfriends wearing their girlfriends' clothing, and it was crazy. Check out our Twitter and Facebook. Some of it's on there, and it's kind of scary sometimes.
But some of the expressions from the Southern student section are so great, especially when they were getting threes kind of late against Trinity. Just all of them, you could just see, even on the top level, like the band members were like freaking out. So it was really great.
Yeah. Well, Central was able to pull that one out in overtime, 75-66. They did go Saturday. They went on the road over to GRC to play in something called the Classic, I think it was called, and they lost to Paul Blazer. And then Monday or Tuesday night, they were over here back at home again and lost to a really good Clark County team, 73-64. So they're off to a 2-2 start, and that obviously segues into our guests for this evening. We'll have Madison Central coach Allen Feldhaus on here in a little bit, along with Kole Browne and Braeden Ray. They'll be here to talk about the season. And the Saturday night, they have the Brent Ray Classic over there at Central, so we're going to talk about that and all the games that are going to be involved in that. So they're 2-2 on the season, and we'll play Somerset Saturday night over there at Central. I don't know if the girls will be dressing as boys or the boys will be dressing as girls, but tremendous student sections out there. They had fun with it. I mean, there wasn't anything profane or nasty about it.
No,
it was just goofy and fun. So it's a good time had by all, even though it's a little scary. So. On the girls' high school basketball side, we've got. I guess the team right now with the best record in the county is Model. Model sits at 3-1. They started off the season with a pair of wins up in Louisville last week. Then they lost to Bullitt Central at home on Saturday. I went over and caught some of that, 53-46. And then on Monday they beat Bluegrass United 48-20. In the Bluegrass United game, McKenna Tuttle had 13 points and Taylor LeCompte had 10 points and 8 rebounds. And they'll be back in action Saturday at home against Woodford County. And I got a couple 2-2 teams. Berea right now is sitting at 2-2. Last week they lost a They actually picked up a tough, hard-fought win last Friday night at home over Garrett County, 64-63. Alexis Newman had 17 points in that game. And then on Monday, they went on the road and lost at Williamsburg, 61-52. They will be back at home Saturday in that Bill Smallwood Classic against Whitfield Academy. And they'll play Central at home Monday. That's Monday. That's the first district matchup of the year for either boys or girls, so that'll be a good test for everybody involved. Madison Southern's girls are 2-2. They went 1-1 this week. They went down to Somerset last Friday and picked up a 52-47 win. Sam Corneliuson had 22 points in that one, and then on Tuesday they went up to Lexington and lost to Dunbar, 66-55. They'll be back in action Saturday at home against Tate's Creek. And the Central girls, you got to watch them the other night. They had a really rough start to the season. They lost 2 games on the road by significant margins. But a little bit of a lineup change, a little bit of Talia Todd got back in the lineup at least for a little bit, and 3 7th graders in the lineup. And
injuries have forced them to kind of adapt a little bit. So I think all of our teams have kind of had some injuries. All the basketball teams have had some injuries this year that they've had to overcome. But Central, particularly, he didn't start, but at the end of the game, 3 7th graders, and they did well.
Yeah.
They did really well. Showed a lot of maturity.
Yeah, Brad Lovely told us in our preview that they made those 3 7th graders may play quite a bit this year, and he said they're tremendous players, and they're. If they've earned it, they're going to put them out there, and if they give them the best chance to win, they're going to do it. So they were all out there, and they picked up a 40-39 win over East Jessamine. And of course, Jakari McKeithen was a beast in that game.
Yeah, got a double-double. She had 22 points, 11 rebounds, and was doing everything she can. I mean,
yeah. You get a lot of help offensively, though. Nobody else on the roster had more than 4 points.
Well, they're all like really undersized too. So.
Yeah, but they got a lot of scoring from a lot of different people. A lot of kids had 4, 2, 2, 4, and a lot of things like that. So they got enough scoring to kind of get that, and they needed that. Like I said, the first 2 losses were on the road and against pretty good opponents, and they were pretty lopsided. And probably just for motivational standpoint, they just needed to get one and feel a little better about themselves. And like I said, Talia Todd did play. She didn't play in the first 2 games. She's battling a shoulder thing, which kind of limits what she can do, and they can't really fix it. They just kind of have to.
Yeah, she's got a torn labrum, so it's either surgery or how are you feeling today? Can you go out and play? And when you feel bad, let's bring you out. But
yeah, so just kind of that's the battle through it, and they're kind of limiting her minutes and doing the best they can. But they got off the schneid there. A good momentum building win for them, 1-2, and that I guess tonight they'll be at Henry Clay tonight. So as this show is premiering, so. Lots of action going on. We try to get all of it through you there. I know it's a lot of information to throw at everybody there, but we try to mention as many kids' names as we can and try to mention all the schools and try to keep updated with everybody. It's kind of hard. We do this on Wednesday and it comes out on Thursday, so we kind of have to keep that in mind sometimes.
Yeah. Luckily, there's not a lot of warp.
There's not a lot of games on Wednesday. The high school basketball, there's very few games on Wednesday, so that kind of makes it a little easier. There's a lot of swimming and wrestling on Wednesday nights, which kind of throws us for a little bit of a loop, But lots of action coming up this weekend. Like I said, the Bill Smallwood Classic down in Berea. That's got boys and girls action. The Berea boys and Berea girls and Southern boys are also in that as well. The Brent Ray Classic over at Central. There'll be middle school games all morning, and then a JV game, and then Central plays Somerset. And I think there's 2 other teams in there as well. But Coach Feldhaus will be here in a minute to tell us all about that and talk a little bit about Brent Ray, the guy that the event is named after. So we're looking forward to talking to him and kind of getting a little preview of that and kind of talking about his team. It's a very interesting team. They only bring back 2 kids that really played a lot last year, but they got a really scrappy bunch of guys that kind of just hustle and bust their butt, and you cannot replace a guy like Isaiah Cozart.
Right.
So it's kind of like not starting over again, but just taking a totally different approach to how you do it. But it's a very scrappy team. It's a very deep team. They can really go deep and play about 8 or 9, 10 kids, which. I'm sure Allen will mention here in a minute. They haven't been able to do that in recent years.
Right.
They played 5 or 6 guys, sometimes 5 kids. So it's definitely a different look for those guys. But it's been a lot of fun. I've seen them 3 times already. The games are excited, and this may not be the most talented group of kids he's had in recent years, but they're fun to watch and they're definitely scrappy. And so if you want to come out and check them out, check out everybody. Like I said,
a lot of great basketball.
every day on the Twitter and the Facebook, we put out a list of what's going on every day in the county. So come on out and
support your local teams.
Come on out and cheer, support.
Athletes.
Just you can wear women's clothing if you want, girls' clothing or whatever. However you want to dress up.
Well,
all the student sections have a theme every day.
Well, at Estill County, it was Wayne out, so no one had sleeves.
Yeah, tear off the sleeves like Wayne. So he was a bit under the weather the other day. So.
Yes, he was. I hope you feel better, Wayne.
You said you were telling him, it was like, he said he didn't feel good and he had a fever, and you're like, why are you here?
Not going to miss it.
Yeah, no one more dedicated than Wayne. He's definitely an institution down there. So hope you feel better, Wayne.
Yeah.
So we got another great week of action coming up and all kinds of exciting things, and so we look forward to all that. And it kind of ramps up here at the end of December. Then we kind of have a little bit of a break, but lots of basketball action, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, it's always like what day. I mean, there's so many basketball games during the week. It makes our job like juggling. Like, I mean, sometimes we have to go to like 2 different games on 2 different nights just to get everybody. And thank you to our coaches for sending us scores and after every game if they're away and we can't get there. So we really appreciate that. So we can get it in the paper.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're not complaining. We like it. We like being out there. And
oh yeah.
I said it's just fun, especially with like the big crowds and all that. Yeah, like one of your pictures, I know a lot of the people at Southern took that picture. And
yeah, they used to, I think Jonah Wooten did their hype up video for the Estill County game, which you can find on the basketball, their Twitter page. But he had a hype up video and he used a lot of our pictures. I was like, hey.
That's awesome.
So.
We love it. That's what we're here for. And like I said, definitely check out the social media and Richmond R Sports on Twitter, Richmond Register Sports on Facebook. Tons of information, tons of pictures. We send out the links to the stories every day as well. So just check it all out. We're there as much as we get to, as much as we can get to, and like I said, we do get a lot of help from the coaches, so we very much appreciate them. And we will be right back with Madison Central basketball coach Allen Feldhaus.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta. Do you want to advertise on the Richmond Register Sports Show? Now you can. Contact us now at sports@richmondregister.com or message us on Facebook today. If it's sports in Madison County, we cover it. Advertise now on the Richmond Register Sports Show in Madison County.
All right, welcome back. We are here with Madison Central boys basketball coach Allen Feldhaus. Coach, thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me, Nathan.
Appreciate it. It's been an exciting start to the season. You guys have already played 4 games and some exciting games, an overtime game, and you've already played a very competitive schedule. Clark County team, it was the top 10 team the other night, so it's been...
Yeah, we were talking about it in the weight room today. Really, 3 out of those 4. Ashland's the top-rated team in the 16th region, and they're good enough to win the 11th region this year. I thought they were really good. And of course, Pulaski County, they were either first or second preseason in the 12th region. Of course, Clark County's preseason number 1 to 10th. So that's what we're used to. But,
you guys always play a tough schedule.
It was kind of concerning this year because we were so inexperienced, and of course our schedule doesn't change. And we were very concerned to get those 2 wins. Those first 2 games were really big, and that's what I told our guys even last night after getting beat by Clark County. And I'm pretty realistic. I've done this a long time. I think we're really further ahead where I thought we would be. I mean, I didn't think we would be this competitive with those better teams this early. So we've got to keep their heads up and keep plugging. And our goal, we want to have a chance to win that 11th region and be in the mix. And realistically, I didn't think we would have a chance this year to do that. But after our first 4 games, if our younger kids keep coming on, I think we have a shot.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about the team here in a minute, but you'd have an event coming up Saturday. You usually have your Central Bank Classic every year over there, which is a whole day-long activities with middle school games and stuff like that. And you're doing that again this year, but you've obviously named it in honor of a very special person. It's the Brent Ray Classic, so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, of course, Brent meant so much to a lot of people. I mean, not just our basketball team. He was a senior the very first year I got to Madison Central. So he was on my very first team at Madison Central. It was, I think, the 93-94 season, and it was an adjustment for a lot of those guys when I got there. And but they all bought in. And his senior season, that's when Jessamine County still had a school, and
That's one county. The one
when
county.
it had the one school, and I think we played them over there. I guess it was in January that year, and they were a top 10 team in the state, and they beat us 10 or 15, and then we drew them the first round of regional tournament, and we upset them. That's when they played the 11th region tournament at Memorial Coliseum, and I remember Brent had 6 threes that game, had a really, really big game that first round of the region, and then we played Dunbar, who Cameron Mills played for, and they ended up going to the finals of the state tournament that year, and we played them like it was 72-67, really good game. So those seniors, Joe Roberts from Roberts Insurance was a senior on that team, and Brent were the leaders kind of on that team. So it's really tough. I mean, it's emotionally for everybody, because I mean, this was a long time ago when he played for me, and now he's got 2 sons. Not only Braeden, who's a junior, but he's got Landon, who's a 7th grader, and Brent was just the most giving person. I mean, not just for our basketball team, but just for all youth sports in Madison County. He just went above and beyond to help anybody that needed help. With me, I can't fix anything. Of course, with his business, if something goes wrong at my house, Brent, what do I need to do? And he'd find somebody. He'd have me somebody right there. But it's not just with me. I mean, he was like that with everybody, because we went to church with Brent and his family, and he's the same way at church. I mean, if anybody needed anything, he was always right there. And of course, he's just got such a great family with the 2 boys and his wife Chas. It's just been hard on everybody. So
he passed away last March.
It was right before spring break, and it was just out of the blue. I mean, he'd been sick that week before he actually missed our banquet, and I knew for him to miss our basketball banquet that he wasn't feeling good, but he got better, and he was actually in my basketball office the day before he passed away. And of course, I talked to him every day, and he said he was feeling a little better. And then that next morning, woke up, we got a phone call from my pastor's wife, and said he had a heart attack, and you talking about a blow
It's
to
43.
yeah,
43.
a blow to everybody. So it's been tough. So we've always had this Central Bank Classic, and we knew we wanted to do something to, as a tribute to Brent. So I thought that would be a perfect way. So I called Jeff Fultz at Central Bank, and he said, "Allen, that'd be a great idea." I said, "We'll just call it the Brent Ray Classic, sponsored by or presented by Central Bank." So I called Chas, Brent's wife, and she was really excited about it. So I just thought that would be. And plus, we've got middle schools, because Brent, he was in charge of the Clark Morris middle school basketball program, and even with his job, he still found time to do that. And so we wanted to incorporate the middle schools into that classic too. So I think it'll be nice.
Yeah. Now he ran a restoration company that I know a lot of people used. I was talking to somebody today, a friend of mine that said that his company came and redid their house.
Very successful business. And then it was funny, when I retired from the teaching part, I had to sit out those 90 days. Of course, I talked to Brent every day, and he knew I was bored to death. So that last month, he actually had one of his workers that was going to be out for a couple of weeks that was kind of a foreman over top of a couple of his roofing crews. So he said, "Coach, I know you're bored. Would you want to come and be the foreman for a couple of weeks?" So I said, "I'll do anything to get out of this house. I can't go to the gym. I can't go on campus. I'll do anything." So I even worked for him for a couple of weeks when I was retired there. But I mean, he was always thinking about me. He knew I was bored to death, and so he gave me. I said, "Yeah, I'd love to. I don't care if you pay me. I just want to get out of the house. Give me something to do." But very successful business, and he was so good to his employees and took care of them. I know my wife, when she was teaching and had the embroidery business there at school, I mean, he really kept his workers in gear. She was always embroidering stuff for his workers. I mean, he's just always thinking about other people.
And it's so cool that you coached him, and then, like you told me last night, he's one of your best friends.
He became one of my best friends. I mean, we talk every day. I mean, every day. So it's just been such a blow to everybody. And I know it's hard on me, but I can't imagine what Braeden and Landon and Chas and the rest of his family are going through. So we just want to find some way to, there's no way you can give the tribute really that he deserves, but we just want other people to know that he was such a great guy. We thought so much of him.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fitting tribute. Like I said, most people know him from the Clark Morris program, but he was involved in youth sports.
Well, with baseball, when the kids played baseball, he was just always there to do whatever needed to be done, and didn't want anything in return. And if he was always giving to other people, he didn't want other people to know that he was giving. That's just the type of selfless person that he was.
Okay. All right, well, let's turn the attention to this year's team. Obviously, you only really bring back 2 kids that played a lot last year, including Braeden. Braeden Ray and
Kole.
And Kole Browne, of course, the only 2 that really played any last year. And it was kind of funny that first game over there against Pulaski, I think they scored about the first 21 points, and I thought, oh boy, is it going to be like this? And then some other kids finally started to go up. And you've got some other kids, like you've talked about before, you are deeper than you've been in a long time.
Oh, I have some options. I mean, last year,
Like
it was 5 people, really. And we really didn't want to go to 6, but we would if we had to. I mean, if we didn't have to, we'd play those 5 starters the entire game. This year, we've got multiple options, and I guess in all 4 games, I've at least played 9, maybe 10 people in every one of those games, and it makes practice so much better, so much more competitive. Because I tell those guys, I mean, what you do here in practice is going to determine who I put in first, or who's going to start. And of course, we know with Kole and Braeden, I mean, they're the 2 guys, and they're going to start every game. They got the experience. Those other spots are wide open. So I think that healthy competition in practice every day has made things a lot better. It makes practice a lot more interesting. It keeps everybody into it. And we've got some other guys that are stepping up. We need them to step up a little bit more. We need somebody to just grab that, say, all right, I'm going to be your 3rd scorer. I mean, we know who our 2 scorers are, and one game it's been one person, next game it's been somebody else. We need that consistent 3rd scorer, and I think we'll find it. And they're just young and inexperienced, so I think it'll take some time. But I just like the fact that I've got some options this year. Yeah,
now you got Kole at about 19.5 right now.
And his numbers right now are, we looked, he's averaging almost 20, and he's shooting like 58% from the field, and 40-something% from the 3-point line, 80-something% from the free throw line. So he's going to start getting a lot more attention. So I don't know, he probably have a hard time maintaining those numbers, but he's really got off to a good start.
And you talked about Braeden getting stronger, and he's now getting to the rim a lot more. He's not just a jump shooter anymore.
No, and truthfully, he's gone away from shooting the threes. We got to get him back to shooting more. Like last night, he was 4 out of 8 from the field. He didn't even attempt a 3, and we got to get him to slow down. He is getting fouled a lot. He's shooting a lot of free throws, but he's not coming to jump stop sometimes when he gets in the paint and taking some bad ones. But those are things, that's what we're talking about. That's one of those things that we can correct that. And that's what I just told the guys. I just got done breaking down last night's film, and like 2 or 3 of them there in crunch time. And he's wanting to do it. He's wanting to get the job done, but he's kind of not shooting the shot. He's throwing it, driving in there and just trying to, I hope I get fouled instead of making a better decision when he gets there. But last year he didn't have the confidence to do it. Didn't have the strength to do that either. So he's not just a set shooter like he was last year. So he is becoming a lot more versatile. But he and Kole both, I mean, they're getting a lot done, but they can do even more.
Yeah, and you kind of go past there, and like you said, I don't think you really have maybe a third standout at this point, but you've got a lot of kids who are scrappy, hard-nosed, they play their guts out, and they all have the potential to score. I mean, you got Carter at about 7.2 now.
And truthfully, Carter, I mean, he's been starting. Really, we talked about it this afternoon after practice. I think he'd be a great 6th man. Just the way he can get on fire. If he comes in and hits that first 3-point shot, I mean, he can follow it up with 3 or 4 more. And that's the type of person you'd want really to come off the bench. But he didn't even play a lot of JV last year. He's really gotten stronger, and he's just worked hard in preseason and worked so hard that we could not keep him out of the starting lineup when we had to give him first shot. But truthfully, I think down the road he might be a better 6th man than a starter, because really we need to get some more size in there. I think Trey Skaggs, the freshman, has played a lot better the last couple games. And
tallest guy you got.
And he is, and we need that against pressure. We need that height, the guy that can handle the basketball the way he can. So I thought he's played a little better the last. He's just tentative. Well, he's a freshman. That's what we got to keep telling ourselves. He's a freshman, but I think he's been a little bit more aggressive and looking to score a little bit more the last couple games. Tayshawn Chenault, I think he's had some moments, considering he took the year off, and And I've been really impressed with him defensively. I think he's given us some good minutes. Will Harden, he didn't play last night, but he's had some really big minutes in those first 2 wins that we had. So I just like that I've got some options.
Alex Rogers, I think he had
Alex was
double
by
digits.
far his best offensive game last night. Got lost defensively on their big guy there in crunch time, and because their big guy was left-handed, he can only turn one way, and we went over it on scout report, and you get the game, you forget all about it. So I remember doing the clips in our breakdown. Alex, don't let him turn left. Don't let him turn left. He let him turn left 3 or 4 times. But he needed that confidence-wise offensively to have that game. So, you can just go down the line of all 8 or 9 that we've played. They've all had moments, where they look, hey, this guy can contribute. And they can. They can. And we need them all. When playing 11th region, we need all of them.
And your point guard, Luke Coleman, like you said in the preseason, he's just a consistent, solid
You know
guy.
what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get. Sometimes Luke struggles if he gets against taller, stronger people, but he's so much stronger than he was this summer. I mean, he got manhandled a lot this summer, and he's really worked in the weight room, and people aren't taking him in that paint like they were this summer. And a lot of it's just toughness and heart. I'm not going to let you get in there. So, no, I love Luke. He's got some fight to him, and I can count on that effort day in and day out. We need Jalen, the freshman. Jalen Davis comes in and backs him up. All 138 pounds. We just need him to get stronger. And, of course, he's a little tentative, but it's because he's going against stronger people. And I think he's going to be a really good player. And hopefully we'll not be able to see a difference between now and the end of the season, 2 or 3 months from now, just physically, because he's going to have that spurt. I mean, he's already 6'2", but where he's going to start to grow outward a little bit, because he works hard in the weight room, but sometimes that old body just doesn't start filling out until it wants to. I think he doesn't have any hair on his legs. He hasn't matured any physically. So
obviously, the people know the potential because Eastern's already offered him a scholarship. So people know he's going to be a heck of a player.
He's going to be a good player.
He is skin and bones.
He's just
right
weak
now,
physically right now.
He's all arms and legs.
Yeah, he is. He is.
But you can still, even at this point, you can see the potential.
Well, and with he and Trey both, letting them play JV, because getting them some quality minutes in JV, I think it's really helped Trey, because we started the season just letting him play varsity. And he just was tentative. So we got to go back to JV. He looks to score a little bit more. And that's what we need him to do. Score, get to the basket, use that 6'5" frame that you got. So our JV, that's what I told him, because all 5 of those starters on JV, they play varsity. So I said that JV's game is going to determine who I put in first, how you perform in that JV game. So there's that healthy competition again too.
Yeah, such a striking contrast from the last 4 years with having Isaiah Cozart, and you don't have really any size in the middle of it.
No,
it just have to play a different way.
No, that's a good thing about high school basketball. I mean, your talent changes year in and year out. I mean, the only thing our defense, our philosophy defensively doesn't change that much. We're not getting out and denying and passing lanes this year as much, because we don't have big Isaiah back there if we get beat. But our man-to-man defense and our pressure on the ball, all that stuff has not changed. But offensively, we've changed quite a few things just to try to fit our personnel. And that's fun for me. When you do it for 34 years, you don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again. So we're doing a lot of different things offensively. And you see signs every once in a while. It's going to be a process. I think by the end of the year, we'll be a lot smoother offensively than we are now.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got 8 o'clock game on Saturday.
We actually got, there's 7 games. 7 games throughout the day in the Brent Ray Classic. I think starting at noon, Madison Middle, 6th grade, plays Hazards, 6th grade. At 1:15, B. Michael Cottle's 7th grade plays Hazards, 7th grade. And at 2:30, B. Michael Cottle's 8th grade plays Hazards, 8th grade. And then starting at 4 o'clock, our freshman plays Somerset's freshman. I think it's 5 o'clock, our JV plays Somerset's JV. And then at 6:30, we've got 2 really good teams, 2 top 20 teams. Lincoln County is going to play South Laurel in a varsity game at 6:30, and then followed by us at 8 o'clock against Somerset's varsity. And of course, Coach Dunbar, my old assistant coach, is the head coach there at Somerset. And he's got, I guess, 4 or 5 kids that run that state championship football team. I mean, his better starters. Yeah. So I'm glad we're playing them now and not later. So we're hoping they'll still have football legs when we play them on Saturday night. I mean, you talking about some men. He let them play a little bit last night, but God, they're just so strong, physical. So they beat us down there last year. We beat them at home, but they beat us down at his place. So that was strategic. I knew they were going to have a good football. That was kind of strategic scheduling on our part to, well, if they make it that far, they'll only be in the gym like 3 or 4 days before we play them. So we're hoping that'll help out.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course on Saturday morning you're going to have to squeak up to Lexington, right?
Oh yeah. My wife's
Karen's got his
cheerleaders,
cheerleading or
their
her
state.
cheerleading.
They're trying to. Of course, they won the state last year. I don't know how many state championships they've got. A bunch. So
Yeah. Trophy case full of them.
I definitely got to slide over there and. Hopefully they can come home with another state championship. I think they go off around 11 something. So I have to get the gym set up for our Brent Ray Classic. Go watch them, then come back as fast as I can. So it's going to be a busy day.
Yeah, that's the KHSAA state cheer competition up there at Alltech Arena up at the Horse Park.
Right.
They're in the medium varsity
well, that's the thing about they're in the medium varsity with the state here with KHSAA. Last weekend. They had to go qualify for their nationals. In nationals, they're going to be in small varsity because some of those kids can go to JV. So they've had to run 2 different routines. So needless to say, she's kind of been.
She knows how to do it though. I mean,
Well, she's got a lot of experience, but it's been kind of rough last 2 or 3 weeks trying to get 2 routines. It hasn't been real pleasant there at home. I was trying to stay away from her when she's like that. Let's just get through Saturday.
So what's the admission on Saturday? Does they get you
Just same as a normal game, $6.
Get in the whole day? The whole day?
$6 will get you in all seven games.
You can stay there all day, folks.
Stay there all day, see seven
Just eat some nachos and hot
basketball
dogs from the
games.
concession stand.
Great concessions. Coach Rob and I will have to run the concessions till the cheerleaders get there. So Coach Rob's good on that popcorn. So we'll do the best we can. Okay.
Well, it's a fitting tribute to a great man, and it's a really good thing you guys.
Well, we're looking forward to it. You can never give him the tribute that he deserves, but I think he would appreciate this.
Cool. All right. Well, we appreciate you being here.
All right. Thanks,
And,
Nathan.
we're going to have Braeden Ray and Kole Browne in here in just a minute.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta.
All right, welcome back. We are here with Madison Central junior basketball players Braeden Ray and Kole Browne. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for letting us come.
Off to a 2-2 start to the season. It's obviously been a very challenging early season schedule here, especially for a young team.
Yeah, especially JRC game. That was a little tough.
Yeah,
and the Ashland Blazer, they were good too.
Yeah, those are both teams that could very well be at the Sweet 16 this year.
Oh yeah,
two really good teams. Yeah, the Clark County game was that's a top 10 team, and you guys actually had a lead in the fourth quarter and just kind of got away from you there. But it's a good learning experience, especially this is just December, and that's obviously you can measuring stick against what the rest of the state has to offer.
That's what me and Braeden were talking about. Compared to last year, at the beginning of the year, we're so much of a better team this year than compared to last year, and we got to keep that up to keep winning games.
Yeah, it's obviously such a completely different team, and you guys are the only 2 starters that are back, and just the way, especially offensively, you guys go about things. You just, without Big Isaiah in there, you really have to do things completely different. But you guys are so much deeper, and you have more options than you've had before, so it's a completely different look, especially on offense.
Yeah, it's like everything's different from last year. Like even the offense, like our offense is different, completely different. The players are running everything.
The best is because we got 10 people to play instead of 6, or maybe sometimes 5. So when we get tired, we can tell coach to get us out of there and come back in.
Yeah, at times last year, the 5 starters pretty much played 32 minutes every night. So there wasn't much bench there to go to.
Yeah, and like the new kid, not new, but like Tayshawn and Trey and Jalen and Will Jacobs, they help us a lot. Like on defense, like Tayshawn, he helps a lot. Yeah, he's like really good defensively.
Real scrappy player.
Yeah, he helps a lot.
And Trey helps us a lot with his height and being 6'5", he can look over traps and get the ball up the court pretty good.
Yeah. I went to that first game against Pulaski County, and like I said, you guys being the only starters back, and then you guys ran out and scored about the first 21 points of the game. And I thought, man, they better get somebody else to contribute here. But you guys do have other guys that can contribute. It's not just you two. I mean, I know you guys are the leading scorers right now by a wide margin over everybody else, but there's other guys there that contribute and make a big difference.
About everybody in the starting 5 can shoot. And like there'll be games where we're all hot. Sometimes they're not, or nobody's hot, but like Carter Buckner and Luke, they can get hot anytime.
That's what coach tells us to do. Just feed the ball to the hot person.
Yeah.
Whoever got the hot hand.
Yeah. I mean, did you guys come into the summer and the summer ball, and then obviously into the fall? Do you guys feel like you had to step up your scoring and kind of be more?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we had to feel like we had to step up everything really from last year.
Yeah, me and Braden's always been talking about that. Just how we had to step up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like the coaches talked a lot about you, about getting stronger and being more of a driver and getting the basket more.
Yeah.
Something you kind of definitely focused on and wanted
Well,
to.
definitely this summer, I definitely just focused on strength and driving and ball handling because like last year, I just shot and I mean I can't really be. It's easy to guard somebody that just shoots. You can't just be a shooter. So like I had to be more versatile with my game. So I've worked on that all summer.
Yeah. It seems like you're hitting a few more threes and you're flashing the.
Yeah.
I noticed that a few times.
Yes, sir.
But you have that touch. I mean, you get quite a few threes last year, so you're obviously very capable of doing that.
Just always putting shots up. Just getting in the gym. Me and Braeden are always in the gym. Always going to get our shots up and work on our game.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, it's been a very competitive start to the season. Some very competitive teams on the schedule, and that's what you guys are used to that at Central at the Allen Feldhaus. Always schedules.
Especially last year, we played like good teams like it seemed like every game we were
And
playing
we're
somebody
in
like top 10 in the state. Top
King
25.
of Bluegrass tournament. That was a heck of a tournament.
Yeah, everybody we played last year, especially after Christmas, like everybody we played was good. And we went to Louisville probably 6 Fridays in a row.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny because you guys played Lafayette, and obviously you guys have played them in recent years, and Ray Surratt has been with that team for a few years. But without having Cozart there, it was kind of like I felt like
it's a lot different.
I felt like, man, this is what teams you guys are going up against. But everybody else went against you with having a big guy.
Oh
like
yeah.
that in the middle.
I mean, we had 3 dudes on them at all times during the game.
Yeah, but you got the big bucket in overtime there. You went right up over him and got that shot off. So.
Yeah.
It's not easy. You
just gotta find your way around them, I guess.
You got to keep going at him. So let's talk about some of the other guys. Talk about Luke Coleman. I mean, he's a kid that's he didn't play a lot of varsity, but he's like Allen said, he's a very consistent kid. Yeah, he hit a couple big threes the other night in the.
Yeah, he did. He got hot
RC
the other
game
night.
to get you back in the game.
Yeah.
The thing about Luke is he's really good at getting the ball up the court, and he doesn't really Luke used to get really pressured, under pressured, and get intimidated. But I've really noticed this year how he's not got intimidated and wants the contact and wants to go up the court. It's just he's really improved.
He plays a lot bigger than he is too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He plays a lot stronger than he is, which helps us because we need a point guard, and he helps us a lot. And he can also shoot really good too, especially when we need it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the from what I've seen so far in the 3 games I've seen you guys play. I think that's kind of one of the things that's impressed me is this is a scrappy bunch. You guys hustle, you guys work your butts off. Maybe you're not as talented as some other teams that have been here in the past, and maybe you are. Maybe hopefully they'll come out in the end. But you guys are definitely scrappy and work hard.
Yeah, always work hard with Coach Feldhaus.
Yeah,
especially defensive end.
What was it? The Lafayette game we had how much?
We had 47 hustle plays.
47.
Yeah.
Coach Pyatt, we have
a chart, and he tallies deflections, steals, offensive rebounds, dives on the floor. We had 47.
47
in total.
So usually coach bases off if those numbers are low, we got to get those up, and we didn't play hard enough. So
yeah.
I don't think I'd want to be on Allen's bad side. So.
Never.
Very intense coach and a very, very good coach, obviously.
For sure.
Proven track record, but he's an intense guy. He gets that stare at you, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, we know that stare.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit about some other guys too. I mean, obviously a lot of people talk about Jalen Davis. He's just a freshman. And he's just arms and legs. He's only 138 pounds, like Coach Feldhaus always says. But you've already seen the potential for that.
Oh, he's definitely got potential. I mean, he's super long, and he's only 14. So, I mean, he's going to get bigger. And when he gets bigger, then
it's going to be scary.
Yeah, especially. Hopefully he gets bigger next year. So we'll have him next year. But he helps us now too. He gives us good minutes.
Yeah. And you kind of got the cast of characters in the middle there. You can rotate. You don't have an Isaiah, but you got William Jacobs, Alex Rogers, Tayshawn Chenal. They've even thrown Kenyatta Harge in there. So there's a lot of guys you can put in there.
Oh yeah, Will Jacobs helps us a lot on defense. He always gives his best effort at all times of the game, and he hustles. Alex and Will can shoot Alex is getting better too, rebounding the ball and boxing out and stuff. And Kenyatta, I mean, Kenyatta just.
He's just Kenyatta.
Yeah,
He's already looks like a full-grown man.
Oh,
in
yeah.
8th grade.
Yeah, I know. His body's just unbelievable to be an 8th grader. I've never seen an 8th grader like that. Like, just so toned. And
he's strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's strong.
That's why they won that state middle school championship. He just ran over those.
I
4
can
kids,
imagine.
you know? They just hand the ball off, and he just run right over him. So, all right. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you your feelings about Saturday. They've renamed that event after your father.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know it's got to be tough for you to talk about, but just kind of what are your feelings?
I feel honored. You know, like, I mean, he probably wouldn't have wanted it if he was here. You know, because like he didn't really like stuff like that. But I mean, me and my family, we like it. Everybody likes. You know, it's like it's a good thing. But I mean, it's kind of tough. But you know.
Yeah. I mean, Kole, you talk about Braeden at all? I mean, obviously you must have been around him as well.
Oh yeah, he's like my second father. Yeah, and this Saturday is something great that they've came up with.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I'm glad we're doing it.
Yeah. Best way to honor him is go out there and get a win, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. It's been fun to watch you guys so far. Like I said, I've gotten to see 3 of the 4 games so far, and they've all been exciting, that's for sure, even though you blew a 17-point lead against Lafayette.
Yeah.
Still won.
We
Still won.
Still got
Still won the game.
got the win. Yeah.
And you could have been home earlier, you know, if you hadn't blown it. Hey, it's all, it was exciting, and that's for sure. And the Surratt kid is a beast in there. So
Oh yeah.
it was a lot of fun, and we were even joking earlier about your great student sections you guys get. And even the other night with the gender reversal, when all the guys wearing girls' clothes and all that stuff. But it's all in good fun, and it's a lot of fun. So if you got a chance, come on out, watch these guys play. There'll be plenty of home games coming up here in the coming weeks. They do play Somerset at 8 o'clock Saturday over at Central. So if you get a chance, come on out and support them and watch them play. It's a lot of fun. So once again, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having us.
All right, that'll wrap it up for this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. Thank you for watching.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by Nuevo Vallarta, a neighborhood restaurant with indoor and patio seating, a family-friendly environment, and quality, authentic Mexican food at reasonable prices. Nuevo Vallarta. Do you want to advertise on the Richmond Register Sports Show? Now you can. Contact us now at sports@richmondregister.com or message us on Facebook today. If it's sports in Madison County, we cover it. Advertise now on the Richmond Register Sports Show in Madison County.
Almost 2 decades. That's right, I've covered local sports in Madison County for almost 2 decades. The Madison Central Indians, the Madison Southern Eagles, the Model Patriots, the Berea Pirates, the EKU Colonels, and the Berea College Mountaineers. I've covered them all. Football, basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, track, cheerleading, golf, youth sports, and more. It's all being covered by the Richmond Register. Join us for a brand new weekly sports program. Watch the Richmond Register Sports Show every Thursday at 9 p.m. Be sure to like, share, and follow us on all our social networks and to subscribe to the Richmond Register online or get your own subscription delivered. If it's sports in Madison County, we cover it.